Hi Sagittarians, welcome to your June forecast. This is like down and dirty, no frills. I am shuffling right in front of you, no music. I just really want you to get this. Well, you're getting Queen of Swords. You might be dealing with somebody in air sign. You might be dealing with, ooh, this is you, and the Emperor. Could it be a few people that you're dealing with? Because the Temperance is like that lovely energy of something in the middle where you're making things work. The Emperor doesn't necessarily have to represent a person. It can represent the energy of being in control, of finally kind of like feeling that you're in the saddle again. I don't know, like Queen of Swords can have either Libra or Aquarian energy where we're kind of like certain things are reaching, let's say, conclusion of some sort. Maybe you have been dealing with somebody who basically stated their case and they're not relenting, and you're kind of like really good in philosophy, a good talker, and you're really used to people, you used to tangle people up, and because you know so much about so many things. But not this time. This time you found a very, very strong person. So it could be a man or a woman, and it could be somebody who is located a little bit north of you, kind of a thing. It is like somebody who is like so confident that is blowing your mind, and like no wonder that you're putting this person on a pedestal. There's like somebody who is very organized. There's somebody who kind of like knows the answers, and it's almost like to you it's a godlike feature, right? To some people the Empress is the ultimate woman. To you Sagittarians is the Queen of Swords. Is somebody who is telling you, who is cutting you off and saying, no, this is the way it's going to be. I don't really care about what you're telling me because this is what I need. And actually, it's funny enough, it almost like sounds like it could have been somebody coming from the past, or the situation from the past keeps coming to the surface because you kind of like feel there is like something that has been left unfinished. That's what usually Temperance tells me when it appears, because it kind of like appears when it's need for balance, right? Queen of Swords, somebody representing Libra, represents the same thing, right? It's kind of like of talking about here for opposing areas of your life. You know, you want to be married, you want to be single. Oh, okay, it's crap or get off the pot, kind of a thing, right? So you're being asked to be patient and to kind of like re-examine your priorities in your life that are somehow in disharmony. Maybe there's somebody in your life who's saying, putting your foot down, and it has like extremely, as I said, strong influence. In a sense, kind of like marrying these two opposites in you can start bringing a new life, a new purpose. Maybe you met somebody who kind of like gave you that ability that you can fly, and that you felt anything can happen, I love you to death, right? It was the purpose that you had, and maybe that it's coming back. I don't care how old you are, because whenever the Emperor shows up, and look at how strong he is, even holding his bulls basically here, it's that masculine energy. It could be even father energy, right? This is somebody who is authoritarian. It's kind of like no debate over there, no. So look at that. You have been surrounded with needing to do the right thing. It looks like it's almost like that you have been possibly going through some kind of chaos when this kind of like appears. So it could be, I don't know, leader or protector or even provider. That is somebody you're really afraid to disagree with, kind of a thing, right? And it's kind of like really interesting that you are really trying to also see what is the other side of love, because this is giving you really different feedback. It's almost like going to the fun house and seeing different mirrors, and in the mirrors you see yourself in a different way. It could be the different people will telling you different things about you, and you might even be puzzled, and you might discover the need of kind of like rebalancing parts of your life, and almost like an urgent need to do that. It's almost like I am seeing here needs to make concessions, kind of like you need to make something right. I kind of like see that. It's not necessarily that you're going to go out and do that, but it almost looks like that some people are almost demanding that of you. So this is going to be truly, truly interesting, I have to tell you. So let's grab the second card, and let me grab one more, and here we are. I like it. Let's flip them over. Here we have Six of Earth. This is really interesting. We have Queen of Swords and Six of Earth. Six of Earth over here is like talking about taking care of everything and everybody, and it's taking care of another person and this person's offspring. It's clearly what it is, and nourishing them with love. This card also sometimes appears to me when there is a third party that gets involved, when somebody just like wants to make sure that everybody's taken care of. And it's a gentle energy, but it's also money energy. Maybe somebody put the foot down and saying, look, generosity is appreciated, but hello, something needs to stop. Or maybe somebody's in a position of this generosity, and maybe you're calling upon that. Maybe somebody had an issue of the family. Maybe you have a family, and maybe you kind of like wanted to be with somebody, and this person didn't like your connection with the family. I kind of like see all these different tangents. After all, I don't know if you can see it, there is a mirror over here. Remember, I was just telling you about these fun mirrors. So this mirror is exactly how to come and approach really, really closely in order to see in it. This is the mirror to your soul. The next one is also Earth. It is Earth Kitten. And this is really talking about the slow progress. Maybe you were digging yourself out of the hole. Maybe there was somebody, or it is somebody, you're having somebody who is very different from you. Just like this porcupine is very different from the kitty cat. But this is not to say they cannot make friends. They might make strange fellows, but they still can make friends, right? And here we have also Earth, Seven of Earth in this particular case. They're going from 6 to reverse Seven of Earth. So this is very much like your card talking about patience. Maybe you're waiting for something. You're waiting for a prize. You're waiting for something to come to fruition. But when the Seven of Earth is reversing, it is generally talking about the situation. And that's what we see here, Emperor. That somebody has ability to have power over you, and you don't like that situation, not a little tiny bit. It's kind of like, look, I have been doing this for a long time. This also can be honestly some form of a cover-up. It can, cover up, what I mean, let's say you have somebody on the side, or somebody has somebody on the side, and you think you're in control because the Emperor is here, and then somebody else realizes, oh, I found this hole. Somebody finds that opening and sees everything, reveals everything, right? This can also sometimes talk about unemployment, sometimes a boss having a big influence over you, right? And failure, and maybe somebody's not trusting you. Maybe you need to earn somebody's trust, and somebody's in a position of keeping purse strings, right? So it might be some kind of like sort of revaluation, right? I do see insecurity this particular month. I do see that, look at this, it's existential. It's clearly existential over here. This is kind of like your baseline, right? I'm going to grab 3 more cards to see what more we can reveal, and then we are going to see the mystery card. So let me get 3 more cards for Sagittarians. And then we have 9 of Pentacles. Interesting. 9 of Pentacles is about somebody being completely self-sufficient. It's almost like you want to be generous towards someone, and they're saying to you, no thank you, I'm just fine. And it bothers you. It bothers you because you really wanted to kind of like connect with this person that way. You're going to be very amorous. You have this Knight of Cups, and you also have Page of Pentacles over here, which is basically this card over here. And interestingly enough, it's reappearing. So this is really talking about be very careful what you do, honestly, because I can see different people. There are lots of people and there are lots of possible opportunities. But given that like the crown of this reading is this Queen of Swords and the Emperor and your card over here, it almost looks like that angelic, that you're being observed. I kind of like am feeling this energy, almost like in Truman Show, the movie, where there was like this big cupola, right? Or sort of like observed, you're being observed, a god energy, right? Your actions are really being judged, every single minuscule thing. I really think that you think love conquers everything, and maybe there's like somebody from the past that you want to revisit, and maybe a person is saying, you know, I'm just fine, I'm just fine. It kind of like sounds to me, and I'm sorry to say this, that there has been something that has been very important to you, and then somebody pulled the rug underneath your feet. Somebody said, no, not me. And it's very hard for you to forget this person who left a huge mark on you, and yet you're trying to move on and trying to move forward. And almost like feels like you're putting one foot in front of another with this Page of Pentacles. It's kind of like you're saying to yourself, I have to continue, I have to persist. Page of Pentacles are really talking about maturity and talking about, you know, opportunity and manifestation and mastery, right? Learning things and grounding ourselves. And look at the amount of earth. It's going to be orientation to what is domesticated, to where is your ground, who is your ground in your life, who is the one who keeps you honest, who is the one who keeps you straight. And there are some expectations placed on you this month, so you just kind of like really have to put everything in perspective, that it's not only the other people that expect certain things from you, but there is like that universal force, that God that is watching you. So how will you represent yourself, Sagittarians? And the mystery card is Enlightenment. And honestly, from this chakra deck, I cannot think of the more Sagittarian-like card, right? Because this is really talking about, look at this is a little boy. It doesn't matter how old we are. We all have that inner child. We still feel that basic, right or wrong. And sometimes the Sagittarians feel slighted. You feel like a victim. And sometimes you stay in that situation. And the others are not very patient when you stay and hold the situation for too long, whether or not you're a real victim or not. This is to me telling me that because you are this sign of journey, right? So the journey is at this stage really important, more important than what your destination is. Maybe you feel, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. But how about the process of how to get there, sort of a thing, right? You also have to re-examine your own thoughts. And also, like, I mean, this is this deep thinking kind of like page that is repeating twice over here, because you see, your thoughts are driving your choices over here, and there's like opportunities presenting to heal yourself. This can actually really talk about a medical procedure stepping in. That could be a professional. It could be you have to stop smoking now. It's not going to be if or what. I just saw this movie, The Professor, with Johnny Depp. I really didn't like the movie, but it was sort of like you get the diagnosis and you can either do that and you're going to extend and make the best out of it or not. I mean, I faced that same thing myself at one point, Luckily for me, it was false diagnosis, but it took me about 2 months to really realize that. And in these 2 months, trust me, all kinds of stuff are going through your head, and then you are really learning ultimately the message you need to learn. And I think when you have terminal disease, you learn it faster, because the time is not in kind of like in abundance. You learn that you have to be authentic, that you have to live life fully, that you need to kind of like come through. It might be that you might need solitude this time, and you might start going in some kind of like support groups for some reason, or look for support of people, because I do see people around you. Like, look at all these pages, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's going to be a very eventful month, but be very careful, especially of hanky-panky, because as I said, there is like some kind of like karmic thing at play, and you guys are being watched. So if you want to be amorous, or if you want to approach somebody and open your heart, it almost looks like they're not going to be receptive to it. But this is not to say that this entire thing is not going to be beneficial for you, because it might be just simply releasing some energy or something from the past for you to kind of like be able to go in a different direction, where, you know, we have fears in life, and this really to me talks about dealing with your fears. And your fears that I see over here are feelings of inadequacy, feeling that you're not good enough, and feeling that you always have to wrap yourself around some other people's needs and choices, and you kind of like trying to figure out where is your place in the sun and how do you go from there. So my dear Sagittarians, if any of this resonated, I would like to hear from you. Please do subscribe, because the messages were meant for you. If you want a reading with me, visit my website at cattarot.ca, and also please join my Instagram and Facebook, so you can get your daily dose of tarot through my daily Instagram and daily Facebook tarot reading. So thank you so much. We would love to hear your comments. Would like to know how you're resolving this issue. This is going to be a really big one. So my dear Sagittarians, do not do hanky-panky and no foolish things this month. Trust me, it's going to be better that way. Love you guys. All the best.